You consume financial content, you understand compound interest, and you have money set aside ready to be put to work. Yet, it sits there, untouched. Why is it that the more you learn about money, the harder it becomes to make a move? This is not a personal failure. It's a predictable paradox that traps the most intelligent people. This feeling of being stuck is what we call the Prudence Cage. It's a prison you build for yourself with the best of intentions. You believe you are being careful, diligent, and responsible by gathering more information before you act. But in reality, each new piece of data adds another bar to your cage, reinforcing your inaction and keeping you financially stagnant. The world of finance seems to reward genius and punish mistakes. Every headline screams about a market crash or a missed opportunity. Your brain interprets this landscape and concludes that the only way to win is to make the perfect decision. The problem is, in a system defined by uncertainty, the perfect decision does not exist. The pursuit of it is a trap. So you wait. You wait for more certainty, for a clearer signal, for that one piece of information that will unlock your confidence. But that day never comes. Meanwhile, the most powerful force in finance, time, is working against you. The cost of your inaction, disguised as prudence, is quietly compounding into a massive future loss. You are losing by not playing. So what is this cage built from? It is constructed by three powerful psychological forces, ancient survival mechanisms that are now sabotaging your financial future. These are not flaws in your character. They are features of the human mind. The first and most powerful of these forces is so potent that its emotional impact is more than twice as strong as its opposite. Let's deconstruct it. The first guardian of your inaction is loss aversion. Your brain is wired to feel the pain of a loss approximately twice as powerfully as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Losing $100 feels emotionally worse than gaining $100 feels good. This asymmetry makes you overly cautious, forcing you to prioritize avoiding any potential loss over achieving any potential gain. This leads you to evaluate every financial decision, not on its potential for growth, but on its potential for failure. You imagine the worst-case scenario with vivid emotional detail, while the best-case scenario remains a vague, abstract concept. Your fear of loss becomes a gravitational pull, keeping your money safely in a savings account where its value is slowly eroded by inflation. The second guardian is the status quo bias. Your brain has a natural preference for the current state of affairs. Doing nothing feels safer and easier than taking action, because any action requires effort and introduces risk. Your mind's default setting is to continue doing what you've always done, even if you logically know that a change is needed for better results. This bias explains why you can spend weeks researching the best investment, but the final step of actually transferring the money feels monumental. The inertia is a powerful force. The Prudence Cage convinces you that waiting is a neutral decision, but it is not. It is an active choice to let inflation and opportunity cost work against you. It is the decision to remain stuck. Finally, the third guardian is the fear of regret. This is the dread of making a decision and having it turn out to be the wrong one. What if you invest in Fund A, and Fund B performs better? This fear of future regret is so powerful that it often leads to choosing nothing at all, because inaction feels like the only reversible decision. This cognitive trap ensures you are always optimizing for an unknowable future, trying to protect yourself from a feeling you have not yet had. But the cruel irony is that the biggest regret many people have in their later years is the opportunities they failed to take due to fear. These internal biases are strong, but they are dramatically amplified by the world around us. Your internal biases are the dry kindling, but the modern information environment is the spark that sets your anxiety ablaze. We live in an ecosystem of financial noise, where every opinion is presented with absolute certainty. This constant barrage of conflicting information overloads your decision-making circuits, making paralysis the most logical response to an illogical environment. Your brain simply shuts down. Financial news thrives on fear and greed. Headlines are engineered to trigger your loss aversion. Stories of market crashes are given far more airtime than the slow, boring reality of long-term growth. This creates a distorted perception of risk, making the world of investing seem like a chaotic casino rather than a predictable, long-term wealth-building machine. You are constantly being told to be afraid. Then there is the illusion of the guru. Social media presents you with an endless stream of experts who claim to have the secret. One tells you to buy real estate, another to trade options, and a third to go all in on crypto. This expert overload feeds your fear of regret. With so many perfect strategies available, choosing just one feels like a guaranteed mistake. This environment trains you to become a professional information collector instead of a decisive action taker. You feel productive because you are learning, but this form of learning is a sophisticated form of procrastination. It provides the illusion of progress without any of the associated risk. It is the most comfortable room in the Prudence Cage, furnished with books and podcasts. The result is a feedback loop. The noise makes you anxious, which triggers your biases. Your biases demand more information to feel safe, so you seek out more noise, which makes you more anxious. You are stuck in a cycle of analysis and fear, while the real path to wealth, simple, consistent action, is completely obscured by the chaos you have invited into your mind. So how do you break this cycle? The key is not to find better information. It is not about finding the perfect investment. The key is to adopt a new mental model, a different operating system for your financial mind that allows you to escape the cage not by breaking the bars, but by simply walking through them. The way out of the Prudence Cage is the mental model of the good enough decision. Your goal is not to make the perfect choice, because it's impossible. Your goal is to make a good enough choice, and to make it now. Wealth is not built on a few moments of genius, but on decades of consistency. The quality of your decisions matters far less than the consistency of your actions. To implement this, you must shift your focus from outcome to process. You cannot control whether your investment goes up or down tomorrow. That is the outcome. But you can control your savings rate, your diversification, and your consistency. That is the process. By focusing on what you can control, you reclaim your sense of agency and starve your anxiety of its power. Start by making the decision reversible and small. Instead of thinking, how do I invest my life savings, ask yourself, how do I invest $100? This dramatically lowers the perceived risk and short-circuits your fear of regret. An imperfect start is infinitely more valuable than a perfect plan that never gets executed. The goal is to build momentum. Next, automate the process. Set up an automatic transfer and investment every single month. This removes the decision point. You are no longer required to overcome your biases with willpower each time. You made one good enough decision to automate, and it works for you indefinitely. Automation is the single most effective tool for bypassing the Prudence Cage because it makes consistency the default. Finally, you must intentionally limit your information intake. Pick a simple, diversified strategy, like investing in a broad market index fund, and then stop looking for alternatives. Unsubscribe from the newsletters, delete the stock tracking apps, and tune out the noise. Your paralysis is caused by an excess of information, so the cure is a deliberate and strategic ignorance of irrelevant data. By embracing the good enough decision, focusing on your process, starting small, automating and tuning out the noise, you are not just making a financial choice. You are rewiring your brain. You are transforming your relationship with uncertainty from one of fear to one of acceptance. But once you start acting, a new challenge immediately emerges, comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Today, we revealed the invisible prison that keeps intelligent people from building wealth, the Prudence Cage. We exposed its architects, loss aversion, status quo bias, and fear of regret. You now understand that your inaction is not a character flaw but a predictable response to internal biases being amplified by a noisy world. This knowledge itself is the first step to freedom. More importantly, you now possess the master key, the mental model of the good enough decision. You know that the path to financial success is not about making perfect choices, but about taking consistent, imperfect action. By focusing on your process, starting small, and automating your decisions, you can bypass your brain's ancient defense mechanisms and finally begin your journey. You have escaped the paralysis of analysis. You have taken your first steps and planted your financial seed. The feeling is empowering. But as that seed begins to sprout, you will inevitably look around and see others whose trees are already tall and full. The temptation to compare your progress to theirs will be immense, and it presents an entirely new psychological trap. How do you stay focused on your own path when social media and the world constantly show you a curated highlight reel of other people's success? Why does seeing someone else's financial win feel like a personal loss, threatening to derail your newfound consistency with feelings of envy and inadequacy? This is not just a feeling, it is a powerful cognitive illusion. This illusion forces you into a game you cannot win, a game where the goalposts are always moving and your self-worth is tied to outperforming others. But what if you could see the architecture of this game and choose not to play? The next step in your journey is to deconstruct this financial illusion and reclaim your focus. That is precisely what we do in the next video. By understanding the psychology of social comparison, you can inoculate yourself against envy and build wealth on your own terms, at your own pace. If you are ready to stop comparing and start compounding your peace of mind, click the video on your screen now to dismantle the financial illusion and solidify your progress on the path to true financial freedom.